Hello and welcome to East Coast Fibreglass. In today's video we're going to show you a repair job we did on this snapped surfboard. We start by cleaning all the old wax from the board using a heat gun and a plastic scraper. Don't hold the heat gun too close to the board and be careful not to get too close to your hands. We then follow on with a cloth to remove the thick residue. And then with white spirits with a cloth to get rid of any smears and thin residue. Now that the prep work is done, we use timber bracing and strong tape to pull the board back and recreating our rocker shape to the board. When we're happy that everything's lined up, we flip the board over to access the damaged area. Any loose bits of fibreglass are removed and cut back approximately 2 inches away from the damaged edge. Also, open up the crack in the foam core so that our replacement foam can be easily poured in. We then pour in a 2-part expanding liquid polyurethane foam into the void and leave this to rise and cure. The foam is hardened, we cut off any excess foam and sand it flush with the original core. We then follow on with a mixture of polyester surfboard resin and glass bubbles to create a smooth, easy sanding filler. Always wear a dust mask or particle respirator when mixing glass bubbles. Once mixed, it's applied on top of the sanded foam area, applying with a spreader and left to cure. When the filler has cured, sand this level to the original fibreglass layer. Repeat the filling process until you have a good, smooth, level surface with no air voids. You can even reduce the amount of glass bubbles in your final coat, and even add a pigment if you wish, to try and better match the original core colour. We're now ready to apply our fibreglass. We prepped the area of the bottom of the surfboard by removing the dust, wiping down with acetone and masking off the board where we don't want any unwanted drips or excess resin running onto the rest of the board. Notice the shape that we've cut the glass cloth, so we have more glass along the rails of the board. Using 2 layers of 4-ounce cloth, one cut approximately 1 inch smaller than the last so as to feather the edge, we lay the cloth down dry and apply our polyester surfboard resin, wetting the glass out thoroughly. Once this layer is cured, we are ready to sand the fibreglass level with the resin of the board, being careful not to cut too much into the fibres. When finished sanding, we flip the board over and prep the deck of the board by sanding the surface, removing any drips from the rail areas and masking the area as we did prior to glassing the bottom earlier. Using this time 1 layer of 4-ounce cloth and a layer of 6-ounce cloth, we repeat the layup process as we did earlier. Once cured, we remove any drips from the bottom of the board around the rails etc. with our sander. Then go back to the deck to sand and blend the repair level with the original laminate. Now that everything's sanded down, dust removed and wiped down with acetone, we start to mask off the board ready for our top coat of resin. As polyester resins tend to cure tacky, we've added 2% MW waxing styrene to our mix, which helps the resin cure without any tackiness, often referred to as a top coat. This mixture is then catalysed and painted on with a brush. Only ever add the wax to a final coat, as further coats will not bond to a top coat layer. Remove the tape before it starts to cure and leave this layer to harden, ideally overnight to reach full hardness ready for sanding. Repeat the previous coating process on the deck. When everything is cured to full hardness, you can begin the wet and dry cutting back process. Start with 240 grit wet and dry paper, and then move up to 600, 800 and finally 200 grit, making sure you don't cut into the fibres. When you've finished the cutting back process and you're happy with the final result, you can re-wax your board, ready for the next surf. All materials featured in this video are available from East Coast Fibreglass Supplies Limited. Find us at ecfibreglass.co.uk or just search for East Coast Fibreglass. And don't forget, we are now also the distributor for Aerialite fabrics in the UK.